Hello, I'm Dan.
And I'm Simon.
And this is the Wikicast, a podcast where Wikipedia takes us to a random article each week and we talk about what we find. Simon, what are we talking about this week?
This week, Dan, we are talking about Ballantine, parentheses, horse race. But really,
perfect.
We're talking about everything else because it's been so bloody long since we did an episode.
Ages, absolutely ages.
The last episode was released on July 11th. So it's going to be almost to the day 2 months since we were on a pretty good streak before then. We did actually do quite a few weeks in a row. We basically, do you want to explain what happened this summer? Because it was both of us.
Well, we got back into quite a good routine, which was then promptly interrupted by graduation shenanigans for me. You were away.
Yeah. You then went away.
Then summer happened, and for those who may be new to the podcast, I sing in a choir, and I get the summer off from singing, so I can come back in. In fact, we resume again tomorrow. Exeter Cathedral Choir resume tomorrow, so we get some downtime to kind of rest our voices and properly relax before we hit the new Michaelmas term with oodles of energy. And I rather cleverly decided to sing for my entire summer in various different places. And as a result, I'm very tired. I've also now started my new job. So I've got a Monday, Friday, 9 till 5 proper desk job on top of everything else. So it's very busy. But I think I'm going to talk about what I did in my summer a little bit later. And I'm sure you've got plenty to tell as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But I mean, I just thought it was important that we just put it out there why we haven't been doing stuff. Not because of laziness. We managed to almost perfectly not overlap when we were away. Like, as soon as you left, I had just come back from something. And as soon as you got back, I then went away and did something. We've both been busy boys this summer, actually.
Very busy boys.
Well, we'll have a lot to talk about. But we should talk about Ballantine. Or it might be Balanchine. I'm not actually sure. It's spelled Balanchine.
Will you be my Balanchine?
Bullet for a Balanchine.
Yes.
Sometimes known as the Ballantine or Balanchine Stakes, is a horse race run over a distance of 1,800 metres. Would you happen to know, down off the top of your head, how many furlongs that is?
Have
a stab.
I'm going to say 30.
9. That's 9 furlongs. So what? A furlong
close
is,
then. Fairly close. 30.
So a furlong's what? 200 metres then? It's 500 metres. Beg your pardon.
A furlong is one of those words that sounds longer than it is, much like fathom. A fathom is only like 7 or 8 feet, isn't it, or something like that?
Yeah, and a fathom is defined by it's 1.82 metres, and I think it comes
about
from
7 feet.
It's 6 feet precisely.
Oh, right.
Apparently
Close.
That's the definition. But I think it also comes from a chain. Chain. Hang on, Google. You might be able to hear. By the way, I have a very clicky new keyboard.
Was it a mechanical jobby?
I mean, it's the most basic one I could buy from Amazon. Wow. So it's nothing but the best.
For the professionals in this podcast, nothing has changed.
Right. Okay. No. So here we go. A chain in the UK, at least, because I think that depends where you are in the world, is 22 yards or 66 feet. So a chain was 11 fathoms. And one link is 100th part of a chain, which is about.
Incidentally, we've now added a new word to the list of things that you say in one way that I say another.
Mm-hmm.
I would say fathom, as in I couldn't possibly fathom it, whereas you say fathom.
Fathom. I can't fathom it. Yeah, I suppose I would say it. Fathom it. Yeah, that's a weird one actually. It's almost like when you draw attention to how someone's walking,
pole
you can't
again.
walk.
Remember that whole
that debacle. Jinx.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
What we were saying. So a furlong is 2 kilometers. I don't know why I got my units wrong earlier. I've literally got a multiple advanced degrees and I can't do basic arithmetic. Anyway.
Have you been to the races?
I've never been to a horse race or a race of any kind, actually.
Well, you've done a beer mile.
Yeah, but I mean, we're not animals.
No, that's
and we're definitely not athletes. So, I've never been to an
that's definitely true.
meet. And I don't know. Have you? You seem like the kind of person I could imagine you going to the horse races.
I've been to the races a few times. I went once. We went as a family to Ireland for New Year's, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of the racetrack. Hang on, Let me
use my really quiet keyboard. Hang on. Clonmel, Killarney, Cork, Limerick, Listowel, Thurles, Tipperary, Tramore. Any of those?
I think it was Leopardstown.
In Leinster, County Leinster.
Mm.
Oh, it's a very exciting sounding place.
It was a jolly day. We had a lovely time, and I made some money, which was also quite nice.
Do you know why it's called Leopardstown?
Because they ride leopards instead of horses. It
seems to have been an interesting degradation because it was originally the Lepers Town, and I think they might have rebranded it so that it's a little bit less leprosy based. There we go. Yeah, it was originally Town of the Lepers, and it's also featured in Spy Kids, a road sign for I'm going to absolutely butcher this, Baile an Lippard. The Gaelic, I guess, for it, is seen outside Machete's shop. What?
That's
Machete
so
was
weird.
in Ireland? Anyway, wow, we got distracted. Welcome back to the Wikicast, everyone. If you're new, this is what happens all the time. We just get totally sidetracked.
We need to start pegging these tangents. Okay, well, yeah, so you've not been to the races, I have, but tell us about this specific race.
And this one is in, it's not in Ireland, it is in Dubai, at the Meydan racecourse.
Dubai, the island of the east. That's what they say, isn't it? Something like that.
Would you like some oil, to be sure? There's if you hover over the link for the Meydan racecourse, there is a lovely picture of what you'd imagine like an Arab stands would be like. Lots of glass, lots of steel. It's very modern, a big sweeping roof. And then there's the grass that the horses are racing on, except there are no horses. There's a very expensive pair of sports cars who are on the grass. It's basically the most Dubai thing I think I've ever seen.
That does sound fairly Dubai-y.
Dubai. How would you... What?
Dubai-esque.
Dubaisk.
See, it's Irish.
Well, hang on. Now you say that because that's funny. You say that because the race is named after Ballantine or Balanchine, a horse who won the Oaks and the Irish Derby in 1994. And he was Ballantine. He's alive. Ballantine is still alive, ladies and gentlemen. It says Ballantine horse, and he was born in 1991. Hang on, what's a filly? Is a filly female? She's still alive. She was born in 1991, and she won she ran 8 times and won 4 races. That is the tiniest record. I didn't realize that top racehorses had such limited, running streaks. But she was ridden by Frankie Dettori for most of those. The most famous, I can't name any other jockeys, to be fair. So there you go, star connection. And yeah, won the Irish Derby. And then they've named this race after her for some reason. I don't know why. And the race is restricted to female racehorses who are at least 4 years old. Although 3-year-olds bred in the Southern Hemisphere also qualify. Because why? That's such a... Why would you make a difference which hemisphere you were born in? I guess it's because of the seasons. Does racing have a season in winter or something like that?
I guess. I mean,
you've only been to the races a couple of times. I don't know why I'm asking you this stuff. And there's very, very few bits of information here. Oh God, this annoys me. Okay, first Simon rant of the new season of the Wikicast. It really annoys me when you'll go on Twitter, and you have Twitter as well. I'm at Simon Oxford, and you're at Daniel J. Moore?
Daniel J. Moore, yes.
Yeah. When you will go on Twitter, and you'll see something trending, and it will be something like Godzilla or something, or Evanescence is trending. And you're like, oh, hang on, that's weird. I haven't heard from them for ages. And it'll be the name of a fucking horse. The number of times I've been clickbaited into clicking a trending hashtag and it's a bloody horse, I've lost count of how many times this has happened. And I don't know why this annoys me so much, because I have no interest in horse racing whatsoever. And it gets me every time. I just don't learn from my mistakes.
I don't get that. I don't think I've ever come across a trending thing that turned out to be a horse.
Well, maybe now what's happening is Twitter's thought, well, hang on, he really likes horses. Let's keep serving him the horse stories. God, it's just so... It's like when algorithms go bad, a.k.a. YouTube.
Yes, so, quite.
I don't know why that annoys me so much, but yeah, well, what is there anything that keeps coming up in your trending then that I'm not seeing?
Well, I don't think, other than stuff that is actually trending, i.e. Boris Johnson.
Please get out of my town.
Yes, I will soon.
Very soon. For those of you who aren't from the UK, the chimpanzee in a suit, who is our Prime Minister right now, it was somewhere in Yorkshire, wasn't it? I can't remember exactly where. Was doing this thing on the street, and it was BBC One. It was on the evening news. This little old northern man, very politely, I think he may have even been wearing a flat cap actually, comes up to Boris Johnson, just shakes his hand and is like, please leave my town. And Boris Johnson just goes, I will very soon. And then, wanders off. And it's just like, oh, for God's sake. How did it come to this?
Well.
So yeah, that stuff trends for you, but you don't get any of the weird like horses.
No, I don't think so.
Should we date this episode? As of the time of recording, my Twitter trends are people, oh, for f***'s sake. # People's Prime Minister.
Oh dear.
Great Scott. What's happening? Is there sport happening this weekend? There's always sport on the weekends. It's a horse! Jesus fucking Christ, it's a horse!
Oh my God.
That was me thinking that there was some kind of sports match happening. There's an Ireland versus Wales happening right now, which is rugby. Yeah. So I just assumed that there was a Scottish... For me, it's a horse, Dan! Get off of my timeline! So why does this annoy me so much?
Bizarre.
What else is trending? Gillian Anderson is trending. Sex education.
Got that.
Oh, look at why she's trending.
Oh,
she's going to be playing Maggie Thatcher in The Crown season 4.
Milk Snatcher.
Maggie
Thatcher, Milk Snatcher.
Yeah, this is going to make for a lot of very confusing crushes for people, I think. Oh, and Bairstow is trending. I can only assume it's because of his... No, it's cricket. It's not the musician, it's cricket.
Yes, yeah.
No, actually, and that's something... Are you a fan of cricket?
I do like cricket, yes.
You know, you share both Aussie and English heritage. You're obviously not the blood, but, growing up there. So, it's two cultures that you share. The stuff that England has been pulling off recently has been unbelievable. I think in the time since we last recorded an episode, England won the Cricket World Cup in the most dramatic style possible, which was they tied a cricket match and then they had to go to a super over, which is basically like instant death. Getting to that instant death was the biggest fluke possible, whereas the batsman accidentally scored an additional 4 runs because he accidentally hit the ball with his bat. And then in the super over, it was 1 run in it or something. There was something unbelievable. I can't even remember it now. That happened. And then in the Ashes, England clawed it back seemingly from an impossible, inevitable loss. I'm not even that into
And it was
cricket.
Ben Stokes, wasn't it, who did
both times.
Particularly fine. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, both times. I mean,
he's definitely getting a knighthood, isn't he?
Yeah, sports personality of the week, surely.
Yeah. Of the week, of the year.
Of the year, sorry. That's the one I meant.
the most underwhelming award. And our sports of the week. He'd be so offended.
England's cricketing employee of the week. Well done, Joe.
You have a voucher to W.H. Smith.
Oh, it's going to be for Foster's. If you're a cricketer, you're going to get a free pint of Foster's or something. It's going to be. Why did cricketers love that so much? It seems to be cricketers and footballers like piss lager for some reason.
I don't know.
For those of you not from the UK, by the way, Foster's isn't actually piss. It just remarkably tastes like it, and would look like it as well if you ate a lot of carbon dioxide. I guess.
I guess, yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, that's what's trending on me. And then Red 19, Death by Brexit, which is I feel like we're all living through. That's been. We're not going to talk about it. We're just not going to. Happy thoughts. No. Happy thoughts, Dan.
Happy thoughts. Yes, quite.
So what triggered that for me was that unbelievable coincidence that I did actually just get clickbaited into looking at a horse on Twitter. Was just the names. Horses do often have amazing names, racehorses, and some of these that have won this race range from just Deem, Deem, to Mabuba.
Beg your pardon?
Mabuba. Mahbooba. Mabuba. Is that a normal given name?
I wouldn't say it's normal.
Well, not for us.
I've ever heard. I haven't heard that. That word.
There is actually a song called Mabuba by. It's just such a great word. Mabuba's.
Mabuba Haroon.
Yeah. Do you want to have a listen to what this sounds like?
Yeah, let's have a listen.
Oh my god, when was this released?
Jesus, is Santa on the way?
It was shot in Egypt.
Oh my
I'm
good
waiting
Lord.
for the beat to drop. Here it comes! Here it comes! This sounds like a modern remix of the music from Pharaoh, the game.
Yeah.
That's quite enough of that. Jesus Christ. How, like, being a music video director must be the trippiest thing. Like, these music videos, because this is from, what? It's got to be from, hang on, 17, people are saying 17, so this is like from about 2000, 2002. Right. All the music videos from that era were mental. I mean, that was like just past the era when like Michael Bay did a bunch of music videos. I know, like everything was just so. It's all the stuff like cloth blowing in the wind and like various Dutch angles of clouds and people zooming through places. It's just so trippy and weird. And then the music video,
quite carbon copy in its.
Oh yeah, they're all the same.
Like, exactly. Yeah.
And then the music video came out for is it Call on Me? The Eric Pride's dance remix. The Call on Me, like, and it's like just a dance class with just women not wearing very much. And I swear that was everywhere. And then after that, basically all music videos were like that. Like, well, bring back the trippy music videos. Like,
can you remember the video to? Oh golly, it was who did Ruby? Was it the Red Hot Chili Peppers or something?
No, it's Kaiser Chiefs, wasn't it? Ruby.
Guys, that's it. Yeah, can you remember the music video to that?
I'm looking it up now. This is great podcasting.
It was the one where they built a city in miniature. It was a really cool video. Do you remember it?
And I'm just looking at it now. So for those of you who are listening at home, it's almost like a sped up version of like Sim City, where these buildings are being built around them, but they're all like a model village, but of skyscrapers and things like that. Oh, that's really cool. What's your favorite music video, do you think? What's one that really sticks with you?
Oh golly, I don't know.
It's not an art form that I think people people do appreciate, really, because they're so big on YouTube. Whenever like a big artist drops a song, I mean, the one that I actually watched one this morning, which was the Lil Nas. I'm gonna have to look up what the name of the song was because it was awful. It was Lil Nas with. Oh, it's not on trending anymore. That's interesting.
Oh, tell you what is a good music video.
You're going to say something by Billie Eilish.
No, I'm going to say. I mean that also. I don't really know where I stand on Billie Eilish, to be honest, because part of me doesn't.
I thought you were a fan.
Well, I think I am a bit of a fan, but I don't know why. And when I start thinking about why I'm a fan, I think I need to stop thinking about why I'm a fan.
Okay.
Because I don't know whether my intentions are entirely pure.
How old is Billie Eilish? I thought
not old. I don't think she's old enough. I think she's like 17.
Sorry, are you nearly admitting to pederasty on the internet? How old? I genuinely don't know how old she is. No,
Let's have a look.
Oh, I know. She's turning 18 in December. She also looks like a goth version of Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, she does. She's interesting. No, I was going to say.
He says, rapidly moving the conversation onwards.
moving on from Billie Eilish to Dodie Clark.
Ah, yeah.
The music video to her EP Intertwined from the Human album is really cool.
Is that the one with the faces on the wall?
No, it's the one that's done at a doll's house.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one. Oh, the Lil Nas song, by the way. For people at home who have bad taste in music, the Lil Nas song was Panini. That was the one that I watched this morning. It's like great production value, but terrible.
It was directed by Sammy Paul.
Oh, Sammy, yeah. As a matter of fact, I should be seeing both Sammy and Dodie tonight. I'm going to a party. It was Hannah Whitting's engagement party.
What a clang.
I know, right?
I think I'm going to watch a film with the choral scholars of Exeter Cathedral and have carbonara.
I'm actually not sure which one of our evenings I prefer to do, to be honest. Which film is it?
I don't know. We haven't decided yet.
It better be Chicken Run.
All I know is that I have to pick up some garlic bread on my way.
Chicken Run. Just do it. The most underrated film of all time
is a good shout. It's going to be quite exciting because it's the first day back tomorrow. We have Eucharist will be a romp because we're doing Vierne Messe Solennelle, so that'll be a nice shout.
Yes.
And then the afternoon evensong is exciting on many counts. Not only because we'll be installing the new choral scholars, organ scholar, senior choristers, etc., but also it'll be the first time I've been able to whack out my academic hood for a service. Well, in Exeter, I've been wearing it in. I was wearing it in Truro, but
he's going to rock out with his frock out.
Yeah, I am. I'm very excited.
Remember, keep your academic hood on the inside, all right?
Yeah.
You can get in trouble with the police. Oh boy, that's
Oh dear.
what was I going to say? Oh yeah, Bad Romance. That's a f***ing classic music video. The Lady Gaga one that's all weird and it ends with like the charred corpse on her bed. That one's iconic. Also, Junior Senior, Move Your Feet. That one stuck with me all these years. That was the 8-bit one where it's like a squirrel blowing stuff up and it's like a side scroller. That's god. That was probably released. When was that released? That was probably released before most people listening to this podcast were born. How does that song go, Dan? Can you give them a rendition?
Which one is this?
Junior Senior, Move Your Feet.
I'm blanking. You're gonna have to go.
That's the one that's like bam 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 bam. Everybody move your feet and feel united. Whoa, that one.
Nice. That's a tune. That's up
banger.
there with one of my all-time favourite songs of all time ever. To give it its proper title is Robbie Williams' Rock DJ.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh,
the music video for that.
Such a good song.
Where he's like he's stripping and then eventually he's just like takes off his skin and flesh and he's just a skeleton dancing.
Yeah.
And then the girls come and dance with him. That's so cheesy, that song. Now that is an example actually of a song that and this happened for quite a few like big hit songs. I never heard the originals growing up. I grew up listening to the Wurzels cover versions of these songs. So
of course you did. Of course you did.
Because hang on, Rock DJ. Can I send you a link to this?
Incidentally, just as a brief reason to explain why this song is so good, you get the absolutely incredible part of a verse, which is singing in the classes, music for your masses, give no head,
no backstage passes.
Yeah, have a proper giggle, I'll be quite polite, but when I rock the mic, I rock the mic right. It's brilliant.
I've just sent you a link
superb.
To the Wurzels version. Adam, can you please include a little segment here of the Wurzels version of Rock DJ? My childhood. I don't want to rock DJ. You're making me feel so nice.
Oh my good lord, this is incredible.
This was how I was introduced to popular music. This was how it worked for me. And
I want to find my favourite bit of that verse. Have a proper giggle, I'll be quite all right. But when I rock the mic, I rock the mic right. That's absolutely wonderful. Brilliant.
I'll send you a playlist.
I didn't know this existed.
Oh, that album, Nevermind the Bullocks, is amazing. That was how I grew up with. Like, Don't Look Back in Anger was another one.
My god, ooh, are just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Ooh, are a little bit more. Ooh, are just a little bit. You are what I'm looking for. It's
Chelsea Dagger. No, this can't be possible.
We've broken down.
This has made my day. The Wurzels Sex Farm.
Sex Farm. That's that one, I think. It's a sex bomb.
That is, yeah.
But there we go.
Oh my god, that's, Ruby. They did.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I don't think I've heard that.
They did. It's come full circle. There's a music video.
Is there? Oh my god, You're right. Oh, it's them playing in what's clearly a barn. For those of you who maybe don't know, the Wurzels are a very popular music group from the West Country where I grew up. And they are a bunch of old white farmers who do have their own songs. They're most famous for I've Got a Brand New Combine Harvester and I'll Give You the Key. Then they also do covers like this. And it's just so much fun. There is a northern version as well. There's a northern group called the Lancashire Hot Pots, I believe, if people are interested in northern music. But there we go. That's your homework, people. There'll be a link to that playlist in the description of the episode. Go nuts. But actually, that brings us neatly on, Dan. Oh, we planned this to perfection. You thought this was all just a weird diversion and a sidetrack. No, because Dan, what is your choral piece of the week?
And this will be my piece of the week. Drum roll, please. Well, what a lovely lead, because I've been doing so much singing over the summer. My choices for choral piece of the week are going to be quite challenging, but I'll do my very best. I started my summer of singing with the Exxon Singers in Tavistock for their annual festival, which was a very fun time, quite exhausting because we sang an awful lot of music, a concert every evening and a service of Compline. But that was jolly. Most of the music was new to me, I'd say, the vast majority of it, with the exception of some of the stuff we did for Evensong, because we did both a live recording for Sunday worship and then a recorded Radio 3 broadcast, which actually was on the radio yesterday or the day before, I believe. Yeah, the day before. It was on Thursday.
Oh, really?
So if you go onto the BBC Radio iPlayer and you search, I'm just going to see if this actually works. If you search Evensong, then you should be able to see.
It's kind of amazing that even after how many years in chapel choir and now singing every day in the cathedral for a year, there's still a huge amount of music that is new.
Oh, you haven't even scratched the surface.
Even within this tiny little genre of Anglican music, it is so deep.
So, yeah, here we go. So you will see on that if you search Choral Evensong episodes available now, Tavistock Parish Church with the Exon Singers is up there.
I'll put a link in the description, so if you're listening to this relatively soon after release, it should still be available. Yes.
And while you're there, if you go down 2 more searches, you will see there is a live recording of Evensong from Eddington Priory, which is where I was at the Eddington Festival, which is another colossal sacred choral music fest with several different choirs, and it was the most wonderful week I think I've spent singing ever. I've met some incredibly gifted people. They were all lovely, and it was so nice for a week just to be surrounded by people who are as obsessed over music as you are. The biggest difference though is so it was myself and Matt Jeffrey, the other tenor choral scholar, and we joined there's 4 choirs there. There's the consort, the nave choir. No, that's not. There's 3. There's the consort, there's the nave choir, and there's the schola. I was singing in the schola, and the schola sing all 4 services every day. So at the end of the week, you've done 27 services, which is pretty incredible. We have the office of matins at 9 o'clock, Eucharist at about 11 o'clock, I think, Evensong at 7 o'clock, and Compline at 9 o'clock every day. But the schola sing exclusively Gregorian chant. Proper Gregorian chant too. So when the chapel choir do Compline, it's all chanted, but it's written on a 5-line stave in a kind of conventional treble or bass clef. Whereas in the Gregorian chant we were singing it in its original kind of neumes format. So that was really interesting because obviously for Matt and myself, we don't really ever sing chant at Exeter Cathedral, and it's a completely different way of reading the music, and it's a completely different way of singing because there's so much more focus on line, and the sound is kind of not really interrupted, and you judge note values really unless a note is lengthened by you just kind of feel it as an ensemble, and it's an incredibly tactile way of singing and unbelievably rewarding. So I'm now slightly obsessed, and so my choral piece of the week is going to be the monastic tone of Salve Regina, which you can hear on the Eddington Priory Evensong recording as the antiphon towards the end of the service, and it's absolutely incredible. The choir was led by Peter Stevens, who is Assistant Director of Music at Westminster Cathedral. Absolutely wonderful and super knowledgeable, and he's sparked, I think, a new fire in Matt and I of just being obsessed over chant of all things. I didn't think
I was going to say, because chant you'd think would be so simplistic compared to polyphony, or compared to the kind of motets and things that you sing more frequently. But you found, I guess, almost like Anglican music itself. Then it's very narrow, but it's very deep as a genre. That's really interesting.
It's amazing. It's really amazing. And as I say, hang on, let me find. Solemn monastic tone. That's why I'm confused. Okay, I'm now sending you a link, and we'll include this link in the show notes as per usual, so you can give it a look. Have a look at that. So obviously we sing it in the Latin.
Oh wow! That's because I've seen some. I'm actually doing a project with Chapel Choir at the moment where we're recording some plain song with a similar notation, but there are bits of this notation that I don't recognise. Them. The alve, right? Is that is it like a slide down? I'm trying to read the notes on the page here.
Yeah, it's really weird. So all of these little squares and squiggles have names. So for instance, do you see? This is really brilliant. Listeners, at this point, you need to pull up the score in front of you, and we'll go through. I'm trying to find my favourite. It's
an interactive section of the podcast where you have to look at the visual guide. Put on your 3D glasses now.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so do you see in the section Mater Misericordiae? There are 3 notes that you sing on D, A, and it looks like a triangle.
Yes.
That's called a torculus.
Oh, that sounds like a great name for a space marine.
I remember it's torculus because it sounds like Tetris and it looks like a Tetris shape.
So can you sing, for the viewers at home who are looking at their scores right now, could you sing the Misericordia, or is it easier just to do the whole phrase?
Probably easier to do the whole phrase.
So do the whole phrase for us, please, Dan.
Okay, right, this is going to test me. I know for a fact that Peter Stevens actually listens to this podcast. So I'm really nervous now. So it would be something like Salve Regina Mater Misericordiae Vita dulcedo, like that. But do you see what I mean? It's got this flowing kind of. If you see a dot on a square or a line above it, a line is called an epicema. Yeah, it is an epicema, and then I forget what dots are called. But they lengthen the notes.
So it is actually very intuitive. You know, it is just the value of the pitch depends on where the black ink is above the stave. Even if it's not in a key signature, and even if you're effectively just it's like glissandos, right? You're just having a glissando between. So the salve, the downward stroke of it is like a glissando. Then you jump back up. It's almost like a trill.
It's a really thrilling way to sing. Because it's, as I say, there's so much contact with what you're singing, and it's actually really odd. So to close the week, we sang Alma Redemptoris Mater, I think, by Palestrina, which was going back to just 4-part TTBB polyphony, and that was thrilling. Palestrina is always thrilling, and he's absolutely my favourite composer. But you do feel almost a kind of not constrained, but you're in a completely different headspace because everything is suddenly so rhythmically bound, whereas there's such freedom of expression and space when you're singing in the kind of neumes way of notating stuff. Yeah, it's really cool. So, folks, the monastic Salve Regina, you can hear it on BBC Radio 3, choral evensong from Eddington Priory. If you look in the notes for that recording, you'll see Salve Regina plain song as the antiphon at the end. Give it a listen. It's really, really cool. And one of the other things we did was Matt and I intoned the entire Litany of Saints for a service. So
I have no reference for how long that would take.
A very long time.
Oh.
The Litany of the Saints is a formal prayer of the Catholic Church and Western Rite Orthodox communities. It is a prayer to the triune God, which also includes invocations to the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary, the angels, and all the martyrs and saints upon whom Christianity was founded. So the list is huge.
Yeah.
Okay. So have a and that the Wikipedia article for it gives you the list.
Okay, I'm clicking on the link, ladies and gentlemen. And it's good giddy aunt.
Yeah, so it's done as a call and response between each one, but it's huge. Oh my
God, that's enormous. How long did that take you?
Quite a while. I think the whole thing goes for about 15 minutes. And we did it in procession, like candlelit procession. It was amazing.
There's an amazing picture here on the article for the Litany of Saints, where apparently it's usually sung in an ordination mass. So when people are becoming ordained to be priests, and there are these candidates who are just laying flat on the floor, covered in rose petals. It literally looks like someone's dropped an AoE bomb over the top of a bunch of priests and they've just been decked by a deluge of flower petals. It looks really bizarre. I've never seen that before. Wow. So there we go. High octane plain song chanting, ladies and gentlemen. The Wikicast is back. Was that your tail wagging?
My tail.
It sounded like your tail was wagging against the, underside of a desk or something.
No. My tail's pretty still at the moment.
Top lap. But, ladies and gentlemen... sorry. He's still going.
It's so good. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
So that leads us up to Patreon Corner, which is, the engine of the podcast. This is the fuel that makes everything happen. And we'd like to thank everybody who has remained a patron during our little hiatus, because goodness knows you could have walked away and it would be absolutely fine because we've not made anything for 2 months. But thank you very much to the people who have stuck with us. I would just like to thank all the people. Well, no. Before we get into specifics, Dan, what's a Patreon, Dan?
A Patreon is a wonderful thing. The wonderful thing about Patreons is... No, I was trying to do the Tigger song from Winnie the Pooh. It's not going to work. Patreon is what keeps this podcast afloat. Not only does it pay for our hosting and whenever we need money to do something, the Patreon and the wonderful patrons who give $1 or $5 a month allow this podcast to keep going. It also pays for our donations to the Wikimedia Foundation every month, which of course is a wonderful thing. And it also allows us to do things like merchandise, which we did a while ago, which hopefully we're going to be doing some more of.
I have a little note on my board that says Wikicast merch by end of year. So we're going to need to... I definitely want to do more, and we have talked about some designs. That will be... We're back on a regular schedule. We can...
Maybe some Christmas merch would be fun.
Oh, golly.
Let's get some... The Wikicast logo and some Santa hats on.
No, it's got to be you singing. We've got to have some kind of design for you singing. That's the Christmas themed, and then
I'll be dressed as Santa singing plain song. How about that?
And then I'll be in the back with 2 little pennants that are like Dan #1 fan go
yes
or something like that. I'll be like woo
with a big inflatable hand. The big with the pointing.
Yeah.
Marvelous.
There we go. Merchandise is going to happen. But yes, Dan is completely right. This is the Patreon is what finances the show. We don't make money in any other way. So thank you very much for your support. And actually, we'll talk about it in the next section, I think, because I've just realized that we've skipped something out, which we need to return to. We'll get back to it in just a second. But before we do that, the money for this podcast has come from the top dogs, the true... Wait, hang on, I've gone on the wrong bloody one. It's been so long. I thought there were not very many patrons, because when you support the show, you need to choose if the cat or the dog is the premier household pet. And of course, way more people have believed that the cat is superior. So I'd like to thank all the top cat supporters. That is Choco Cat, Cole Mansfield, the one and only Dan Hanvey, Ferdinand Singh, Hans J, Isabel Ostrowski, John Manlian, Layla Medina, Lewis Watson, Oliver Burkhart, Oliver Craigie, Omar Miranda, Princess Andromeda, Rents Kirk, River Ward, The Chosen One, and William Humphreys. You people have good taste in both pets and podcasts.
And for those slightly better people who prefer dogs, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Ben McMurtry, Colin J. Brown, Eric Shun, Eric Bolliger, Jax... Oh, hang on now, this is it. Oh, how do I say that? That's not fair, Jackson. I don't know how to do it. Hang on.
I'm going to spell this out. I'm going to say this letter by letter for the viewers at home. Yeah. D, E with a cedilla, BORKZGO accent acute RZCSKI, which sounds
sounds Jackson Deborskovsky.
That's probably not a million miles away.
Deborskovsky. Anyway, let's just go with Jackson. Jackson, Kodzo, Kyle Much, Luca Schulman, Maggie, and Nina Coulton and Peter Reed. Thank you so much.
Fine people, one and all. And if you would, based on this episode, perhaps you're new here, if you would like to support this show, if you'd like to support the Wikimedia Foundation via us, then you can go to patreon.com/the Wikicast and you can donate just $1 or $5 a month if you want to be a top cat or a top dog. I'd just like to shout out a random person from Team Cat, actually. I'd like to thank Sophia Piccoli. Thank you very much, Sophia, for your continued support of the show.
And I am going to do a random pick as well, and it's going to be Samantha Pavao.
Ooh.
Pavao.
Wow. Ooh. Well, thank you very much, Samantha.
Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you, one and all. And now that we're back on the regular schedule, this money will actually be going to do something. Paying for
Hooray.
our time entertaining you with nonsense. Top lad, right, Dan, I wanted to bring back, very briefly, because we've scrapped it in the past, Critics Corner. And we got rid of Critics Corner because it was us talking a whole bunch of fluff about stuff and people didn't really care. And it also pissed off Sally LePage, which is why I brought it back this once. World of Warcraft.
Oh, don't. Do you really want to do this?
Yes, I do want to do this, Dan, because it's a big thing, and I know how excited you are.
Yes.
What has happened with World of Warcraft recently?
So, the World of Warcraft Classic has been released. And
it's been unleashed onto the nerd community.
What a thrilling time it was. I played as soon as it went live. I sat in a queue for 65 minutes to try and get into the server because it was that busy.
Look, Blizzard are a little tiny company. They can't afford proper servers. So, you've got to cut them some slack.
Well, the thing that was so fun about it is that the character I made, which now it's going to get incredibly nerdy and embarrassing, but here we are, was a gnome warlock, which was the first character I ever made when I played the game. And the waves of nostalgia were incredible. About 3 days prior to the game going live, I'd sent off an application, basically a cover letter and CV to join a guild. And I was accepted, and I'm now in that guild, and it's all very jolly. It's just wonderful fun. I haven't been able to play for a while simply because of work and things, but it's just the most wonderful thing. It's just like it was when I first started playing. As I say, the nostalgia is huge. It's a wonderful thing, and I'm very happy.
How much would you say you've played since it's been?
I can go in at. I can next time I go into the game for next episode. I'll actually give you a hour breakdown because it will tell me how you can.
Because I was
thinking.
Time. Seeing as we have now actually had 2 months of Patreon money where we didn't make any episodes, why don't we spaff all of that? Me playing Warcraft with you for a couple of hours and we make some videos about it to go on Spongy and Electric.
That is a marvellous idea.
Because we have recently also, we should point out, been playing some Minecraft. We played some hardcore Minecraft.
We did. That was really fun.
And it was so much fun. We nearly died. I went down to half a heart so many times.
We need to get back into that, actually, because we were doing rather well.
We were doing pretty well, and I don't know, I just really like doing co-op games like that because I've been playing some stuff with the Ogs recently. It's just really opened my eyes to how fun it can be. So I think that we should try and organise a time. And we'll do like a couple of sessions of us playing Warcraft, and we'll put it on Spongy and Electric. If people like the sound of that, let us know in the Discord, because we have a Discord, by the way. You can check a link in the description. Or via email or what have you, and we can do that because I think it's time that I shared in this hobby of yours, Dan.
It's a wonderful thing.
Bless you, you're terribly excited. And because obviously Warcraft is incredibly intensive on a computer. It's graphically very intensive.
Fortunately, it's not. Because it's been the game was released. The game is released as it was in 2006. So you're running 2006 level intensity, basically. Yeah. Is it actually? That could be complete bullshit. I don't think it was 2006. Or it could.
But I mean, it looks like it was made in the late 90s, early 2000s.
The classic game is much nicer to run. Let me look up and see when it came out. It was released in 2004.
Yeah. So 2004 graphics. Of course it's 15-year anniversary. Yeah, because I am building a new computer. What I was leading up to is that I will, with my fancy new computer that's able to melt my face off with how fast it is, I will be able to play it and record and stream and all that kind of stuff. So we can make it look good, Dan. And massive shout out to Adam, one of the mods, one of the admins, who is coming over. Actually, I'm literally in the process of buying him some train tickets as we speak to come over to my house. And I was listening to your playing something very intently. He's going to come over and help me build it. So that's going to be something which I'll probably stream on my Twitch. But with that new computer, we should play some Warcraft, Dan. And I watched Hat Films do a stream of it, and it just looked fun. I was like, that was the thing that sold me. I was like, you know what? Yes, let's go full role play and kick the shit out of some boars or whatever it is you have to do in the starting zone. I'm down.
It's wonderful.
Is what I'm saying.
That excites me. It really does. So it's that time again. It has been a very long time since we've done an episode, but fret not. Our lovely readers have delivered, and we have a confession for you.
It's time to go
quite
to
a long time.
The Chapel of County Pedantry.
Yeah, County Pedantry.
Which is in Dubai, the island of the Middle East.
We have a confession here from the Saucepan Sinner.
Oh. Are they related to the Cacti Crook?
They might be. I don't know. We'll have to check.
The Irish accent's back.
Here we go. Back into it. Right.
A favourite of people from Ireland who listen to this show.
Yeah, not at all offensive. Here we go. Dear fathers, I came to confess my sins. About a year and a half ago was my first year at uni and my first time living away from home as supposedly fully fledged adult. Over the course of a couple of days, I became quite ill with a fever and sickness. Turns out it was a kidney infection. I thought it was food poisoning for at least 3 days because I'm not a great cook. In an attempt to get better, I tucked myself up in bed for a couple of days with a saucepan in case I was sick. That's what a lovely image. Over the following 24 hours, I was sick a number of times, but only twice into the saucepan. On each occasion, I rinsed out this saucepan as soon as I could, and as best as I could, although I'm not sure how well it was washed, given my feverish state and teary eyes.
Dan, I'm not sure I like where this is going. I don't think I like where this is going.
Danger. Having spoken to my parents, we decided it was best to get me home, as my doctor's surgery is in the hometown, is not where I went to uni. Upon the arrival of my parents, I decided to leave the saucepan in my shower so as not to contaminate any other kitchenwares. I had to stay home for something like 9 days with this kidney infection and completely forgot about my saucepan. When I came back to uni, I realised I'd left the saucepan in my shower and scrubbed the life out of it because it was an expensive saucepan and I was a pretty poor student. The following day, I cooked dinner for my boyfriend at the time with the saucepan.
Oh no.
And I also allowed food for my flatmates to be cooked in it months later for a flat dinner. None of them knew I was sick in that pan. I feel pretty guilty even though nobody blamed... Oh, hang on.
Sorry,
no, I can't read.
I feel pretty guilty.
I feel pretty guilty about it all, even though nobody became ill from any of my cooking utensils. Please forgive my sins, the Saucepan Sinner.
Wow.
Well, golly, I mean, what a tale of woe and nauseating
You're a plague rat.
Sadness.
The Saucepan Sinner. You're the modern day version of a plague rat, just spreading your illness.
That's lovely.
Oh no! You know what? Typhoid Mary.
Yes, that's it.
It's a Yogpod, classic Yogpod reference.
It's a Typhoid Mary. Poor old Mary who died in a well.
Oh, we've got a Typhoid Mary.
Yeah, we have.
Well, I think the Saucepan Sinner, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Danby, we absolve you of your sins. Just don't be sick in any more pants, for Christ's sake.
Good Lord.
And
I hope you're better now.
Yeah. Oh Christ. Yes. I hope you do feel better. That's a rough time.
I really hope it wasn't a non-stick saucepan. Otherwise, I'm gonna be very sad.
Well, it was afterwards. It should have been a non-sick saucepan, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
Oh, it's very good. It's so witty.
Behave.
Really sharp. Oh, behive.
Oh, it's not that kind of illness. Now, if you have, dear reader, a confession that you'd like to make, then you can send it to us at spongyelectric@gmail.com. If you put confession in some way in the subject line, we will anonymise anything that is sent to us in that manner. Although the Saucepan Sinner has chosen their own sobriquet, then please do send us, and it could be tiny, it could be huge. My favourite is still the person who, got a blowy from a mother of two without knowing that they were a mother of two
on Exeter
Cathedral Green. That
absolutely outstanding.
If you can top that, then please send something in. But you can have something big or something small. Do pop us an email at spongyelectric@gmail.com, and we will a guaranteed absolution unless you admit to war crimes or something like that. Then that's kind of
in which case we will contact The Hague.
The Hague, exactly.
Yes.
But anything smaller than that, then yes, let us know and we'll absolve you of your sins. Guaranteed from the tiny little chapel of County Pentry, Dubai. But with that...
There we go. Superb. Yeah, very good.
It's probably about time, Dan, that we took a hop, skip and a jump over to the final corner of this polygonal podcast. It's time for the correspondence. Okay, so, speed round. First up, we have an email from Harry Kennedy about Japanese literature. Hey guys, I heard you were both talking about Murakami and Japanese authors in the anniversary episode. I'm a huge fan of Japanese culture, and Murakami is a great intro to it. Ryu Murakami also comes highly recommended. Coin Locker Babies, oh, what a title, is a great read. One only needs to read the first page to see it's something that they could bear reading. Oh. Yeah, with that title, that makes sense. Simon, I think the author you were struggling to remember was Yukio Mishima.
Just as a brief interruption, My housemate has just appeared in the garden. He's been away. I didn't know he was coming back today. I suddenly looked up and he was staring at me through the glass, and I nearly screamed.
It was like Shaun of the Dead when they have the zombies in the garden.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, welcome home, James. Right. So Yukio Mishima, a stellar author and a really interesting guy. He was poised to win the Nobel Prize, but they thought he was too young in the end, and he committed ritual suicide before, not soon after. He's a great... Geez, that sentence...
That's seppuku, isn't it, I think?
Yes, seppuku or harikiri is the old term for it, I think. Wow, that sentence was a bloody roller coaster. He's a great person to get into, as there's endless interesting things to learn about him. Keep up the good work. Love the podcast. Harry, PS Team Dog. Well, Harry, apart from that was a cracking email. I need to read some Murakami. I really do. I have so many books to read at the moment. I will attempt to get round to it soon.
Right, jolly, good. Next, we have an email from Alex O'Neill.
so he was so invested.
Dear Dan and Mr. Clark, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Planet Broadcast Network, of all which are great, but one of the podcasts in the network is Book Cheat, in which the presenter condenses down iconic books with very funny guests and conversations. I would recommend very highly. Thanks for all the entertaining content, Alex O'Neill. That's a brilliant suggestion. I like that.
What a great idea.
Was Book Cheat. Superb.
Book Cheat, and it's part of the Planet Broadcast Network. Excellent. Right, we're smashing through these. We're so appreciative of all of this stuff. Right, hang on. Jack Gilchrist has then emailed in about St. Patrick's Hole, which was the last episode, believe it or not, 2 months ago. Greetings from Ireland, Father Clark and Father Moore. I can confirm I've never heard of this hole to hell in my entire life. I have no idea what it is. There we go, St. Patrick's Hole, not as famous as you might think. A few episodes ago, Diamond listened to Pimp a Butterfly. I was wondering if you have since listened to any more music that wasn't written by some monk centuries ago.
How dare you?
Well, based on this episode,
bloody lovely.
If you want some more recommendations, I would highly recommend listening to Kanye West. I've actually listened to a bit of Kanye West. When was it? Graduation? I think Graduation was the one that I listened to a fair bit. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is like the magnum opus, though I know. Yeah, that's what he's recommending. I'd be happy to send him some more albums to listen to. Maybe it could become a new corner, bringing Dan and Simon's musical taste into the 21st century, or something catchy like that. Readers then send in suggestions, and you listen to the album, and you share the opinions. Now, that's actually with regards from the Parish Hall, Jack.
Wonderful.
I actually really like that as a suggestion. That we both listen to an album and then we sort of come up with our thoughts. I can see a problem, which is that Dan would absolutely not do it. Because whenever we set homework for the Wikicast, I think the number of times when you've actually done the homework I could count on one hand.
Well, yeah, probably.
I mean,
look, I'm a terribly busy person. I've got people to do and things to see and something like that.
Yeah, he's terribly busy, and with his job, which we'll have to talk about in a future episode because it is very interesting. I mean, I'm down for that idea. It would now just be up to finding another co-host who would also be.
So we have an email here from Jay Wright. It's titled "Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations." He says, "Dear Dan and the other guy." I like this, Jay. This is good. "I just want to say congratulations to Dan for graduating. Oh, thanks very much. What are your plans moving forward? Will you continue into a higher level of education? Will you seek employment elsewhere? Will I ask another question?"
Find out all this and more next time.
I've recently been accepted onto a film and television production course at Northumbria University. I went to Manchester for 2 years and studied visual effects, but unfortunately it wasn't quite what I was expecting. At first I really enjoyed the honeymoon period. But the honeymoon period soon ended and I was left seriously questioning what I want to do with my life. After talking to my tutor, I decided to take a year away from uni to evaluate my options. In February, I applied to Northumbria, and after a lot of back and forth, managed to get accepted onto the course. Fortunately, I'll be starting in second year, so it's not a complete do-over. However, all of my friends have graduated this summer, and many of them are already starting jobs and earning respectable money. As I prepare to go back to uni, I can't help but feel like I'm starting again while everyone around me climbs the ladder of life. I'm also nervous about joining a class where everyone already knows each other, and I'm the odd one out. We had a transfer start in second year on my old course, and they never fully integrated into the class. I guess I'm just looking for reassurance that I made the right decision. Anyway, glad the podcast is back, and I look forward to hours of meandering drivel. High-quality non-content. All the best. Jack, age 22 and 1861.
Jay. His name's Jay.
Jay, age 22 and 1861. Sorry.
Well, Jay, I'd just like to make a reference to Star Trek. Anyway, no, Jay, I definitely think you made the right decision.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It's a year. It's 2 years. It's nothing in the context of your life. You've got lots of experiences from that, and now you are pursuing what you actually want to do, which is what is worse. Potentially spending a year that doesn't contribute towards your eventual end job, or doing a job that you fucking hate for a long time before then transferring later on. I definitely think you made the right decision. Just because that one guy didn't integrate, that's one guy. It doesn't have to happen to you. You are the person who determines. You
are the captain of your fate and master of your soul.
Of your soul, precisely. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about friends outstripping you in terms of like being adults. That's what I felt like most of my life, and I'm doing just great. It doesn't matter. It feels like a year or 2 years at this time in your life. It's such a long period of time, but in the context of your whole life, it's really not. So do not worry about it, Jay. Next up, we have an email from Emma Kavanagh. It's been a little while since we've been able to do that. That makes me very happy. Titled "Every Saint's Hole a Goal?" ? Dear both, I much enjoyed your episode on St. Patrick's Purgatory. Your attempts at Irish pronunciation were about as good as mine ever are, much to the eternal disappointment of my many great aunts and uncles. I hope that we have some Irish-speaking listeners who can whack out another pronunciation challenge, because those always go so well. We need to get Brian from Real Engineering on the show, so that we eventually segue into the confession section. Let's watch him explode. Another fine Saint's Cave can be found in St. Kevin's Bed at Glendalough. Glendalough, County Wicklow, where St. Kevin lived as a hermit. It is once said that Kevin... I can't take any saint called Kevin seriously. It is once said that Kevin once went paddling in the lake and stood so still that a bird built a nest in his outstretched hand and laid some eggs in it. Wow. What a guy.
Fantastic. St. Kevin, everyone. Round of applause.
Glendalough itself, it will disturb the birds. Glendalough itself is incredibly beautiful and well worth a visit. I've been told that he might be an ancestor of mine. Not sure if that's just a family legend. Either way, in these political climes, I think he had the right idea. I'm just off to live in my cave as a hermit forever.
Lovely.
Mit freundlichen Grüßen, cordialement, Auguri, Emma Kavanagh. God, she makes a good point. P.S. Very much in favour of a Wikicast riddle of the week. Can you remember what the riddle was, Dan, that you did last time?
Oh.
It was from the Exeter...
Yes, I think I do.
And we need to find the answer now, because I've forgotten what it was.
Oh, was it from the Exeter book?
Yeah. It was an example of... Well, I could also read, because Emma's read a lot of postscripts here. That was P.S. Wikicast Riddle of the Week. P.P.S. Also massively appreciated the shout-out of the undisputed banger of Walton's The 12 in the choral piece of the week last month. A few years ago, my choir, Jesus College, Cambridge. So hang on, it'd be Kavanagh, Jesus College. No, it's the other way around, isn't it? It's Jesus College, Kavanagh! Did this as the anthem for a very loud joint evensong with Trinity College. There were no survivors.
I found the riddle.
Ah, right.
So the first one we did, I read one, and the answer was an onion. Do you remember that one?
Yes, I do remember.
Okay, and then I read the next one, and we didn't have an answer.
So for those of you who've been on the edge of your seats for 2 months,
shall I reread the riddle briefly to refresh memories?
Go on.
Okay, here we are. This is a riddle from the Exeter book, which is fantastic and is in the archives of Exeter Cathedral. Very cool. Some fiend robbed me from life, deprived me of worldly strengths, wetted next, dipped in water, took out again, set in the sun, deprived violently of the hair that I had after the hard knife's edge cut me, ground from impurities, fingers folded, and a bird's delight spread useful drops over me. Swallowed tree ink over the ruddy rim, portion of liquid, stepped on me again, travelled with black track. After, a man clad me with protective boards, covered me with hide, and adorned me with gold. Forthwith adorned me in ornamental works of smiths encased with wire. Now the trappings on the red dye and the wondrous setting wildly make known the helm of the Lord's folk. Never again guard fools. If children of men want to use me, they will be by that the safer and the more sure of victory. The bolder in heart and the happier in mind, in the spirit, wiser. They will have friends the more dearer and closer, righteous and more virtuous, more good and more loyal, those whose glory and happiness will gladly increase, and them with benefits and kindness, and they of love will clasp tightly with embraces. Ask what I am called as a service to people. My name is famous, bountiful to men, and myself holy. That's riddle 25.
And, I mean, if you're listening to a sort of obvious answer that comes as the Bible, but I'm guessing that's not the right answer.
That's it.
Oh, that is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like the
Nice,
Onion one,
isn't it?
where it was like a sexual innuendo, and the answer was actually going to be like a penis or something like that.
It's beautifully written, isn't it?
Yeah, lovely. And also, Emma says, PPPS recently discovered that my mum was actually a choral scholar at Exeter back in the 80s. So we have a link to
Keep
Emma
it in the family.
Kavanagh.
How
What a small
marvellous.
world.
We have an email here from Simon Torseth. Correspondence Corner Tea Party is the title.
Ooh.
He begins, Dear Messrs Moore and Clark. Lovely order there, Simon. Long time lot of read. I've been a reader from the beginning and still love listening to your ceaseless banter. I've begun climbing the mountain yet again, and I'm now reading through all the episodes one more time. The content isn't getting any better, but to hell with that. I'm listening to Fat Simon and I'm listening to Fat Simon and the Little Man.
I love it.
That's what I love. If we ever form a band, we need to be called Fat Simon and the Little Man.
Absolutely. That's a nuclear name right there.
I have recognised that Dan is quite fond of tea. Well spotted, especially with milk. If I am correct, this is a British tradition and not all that widespread elsewhere. I may be wrong. However, it would be terrific if you could elaborate on the topic of tea parties. I have one coming up. I don't know anything about tea other than drinking it. Hopefully the old Dan could chip in with some knowledge in this field. Congratulations with the 2-year anniversary, and may this never end. Regards, Simon. P.S. I'm sorry for spelling or syntax mistakes, since English isn't my native language. Simon, it's wonderful.
It's better than our English.
It is.
It's literally. This was sent on the 26th of July, so it's almost certainly too late. But what is a tea party, Dan?
Well, you have lots of this. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, because you can have like afternoon tea and high tea and various different tea events, I suppose.
It depends on your specialty.
Yes, yeah. The difference between afternoon tea and high tea. Afternoon tea is a British food tradition of sitting down for an afternoon treat of tea, sandwiches, scones and cake. Afternoon tea is served around 4 p.m. When afternoon tea became fashionable in the early 19th century, thanks to Anna, the Duchess of Bedford, it was never intended to replace dinner, but rather to fill in the long gap between lunch and dinner at a time when dinner was served as late as 8 p.m. High tea differs. The origins of afternoon tea show clearly that it was a preserve of the rich in the 19th century. For workers in the newly industrialised Britain, tea time had to wait until after work. By that hour, tea was generally served with heartier dishes, which were substantially more than just tea and cakes. Workers needed sustenance after a day of hard labour, so the after-work meal was more often hot and filling and accompanied by a pot of good, strong tea to revive flagging spirits. So one is considerably more formal than the other. Today, the evening meal in a working-class household is still often called tea, but as working patterns have changed yet again, many households now refer to the evening meal as supper. The addition of the word high to the phrase high tea is believed to differentiate between the afternoon tea that is traditionally served on low, comfortable parlour chairs or relaxing in the garden, and the works after work high tea that is served at the table. That's interesting.
There's a lot of subtlety here that even I wasn't aware of.
High tea because you're literally sitting in a high back dining chair. How curious. But yes, tea and milk, marvellous thing.
And
Yorkshire Gold is the only tea bag, really.
And little,
and otherwise it's got to be done in a pot.
Triangular sandwiches without crusts, so cucumber sandwiches with the custard.
Cucumber sandwiches, absolutely.
And those little tiny shitty stacks of, it's like plates. It's like a pyramid of plates. What's the name for that?
Yes, yeah.
A plate tree. I literally have no idea what you call that. Plate tree. Tea party. Hang on. I actually have no idea what you'd call that. Just a cake display?
I think it's plate stand.
Cake shelves. There we go. It doesn't even have a proper name. God, how the English language needs to invent a proper name for them, like boonschnunkels or something. It's got to be something that sounds possibly a bit less dramatic. Just some ridiculously twee name that someone on Great British Bake Off. If we invent a term and then it eventually gets used on Bake Off, which incidentally Pixel Girls knows one of the bakers in Bake Off this year. She worked at the same school as the young one who's like who won the technical last week. Anna, I can't remember her name, but yeah, Pixel Girl knows one of the people. So there we go. How exciting. There we go. Like tea parties, eh? How we've had tea parties and we've had plain song. What a wild What a wild, wild episode of the Wikicast to come back with, huh? We're back in business.
So, Simon, what have we learnt today?
Well, Daniel, we've learned about Balanchine, the horse race in Dubai, otherwise known as the Island of the Middle East, which is for female racehorses aged at least 4 years old. But if you're from the Southern Hemisphere, 3-year-olds can also take part. And it was founded after this horse that was ridden by Frankie Dettori. And also, Frankie Dettori was the first person to win it, but not riding Balanchine. It was riding a horse called Gonfilia. And then I got clickbaited on Twitter because it was about a fucking horse, because of course it was.
What a wild ride. We also spoke about what we've been up to in the summer.
A lot.
I've gone through my choral piece of the week, which is breaking with tradition and is the solemn monastic Salve Regina from my time at the Eddington Festival, which was thrilling. All of the links to things that we've spoken about and the actual link to a PDF copy of the Salve Regina printed music you'll be able to see in the show notes.
And there'll also be a link to the fabulous playlist of the Wurzels improving popular songs, which is how I learned popular music. And then after that, of course, we had a return to county pedantry. We had a confession. Please do send your confessions in to spongyelectric@gmail.com. We love getting confessions. And you've had 2 months to do random shit in. You know, you can absolutely... There'll be stuff to talk about, I'm sure. Send us an email.
Loads.
And then we also had a very brief Critics Corner talking about how much you've been enjoying World of Warcraft. For
I am a colossal nerd and make no apologies.
It is known.
And then we rounded off with some pretty stellar correspondence.
Which was, cracking. What an episode, Dan. I'm so glad we come back. I love doing this show.
Yeah, it's nice to be back, isn't it? I've missed this. I've missed the readers.
I can see why Voldemort came back. It's nice. Really, really nice. Welcome back, everyone. We're home, and we're going to be doing episodes now every week for at least this week. Maybe a week after that as well.
Good intentions. And that's all for this week's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to us on your podcasting service of choice. You can like us on Facebook, and if you'd like to see our faces, check out our YouTube channel, Spongy and Electric.
Confessions, World of Warcraft Guild membership applications, and other thoughts on the show can be sent to us at spongyelectric@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Join us again for another tumble down the wiki rabbit hole.
And we'll see you next time.